Everyone expected Ashton Jeanty to dominate so far this season, but instead, he's off to a slow start. So what's really going on with the Raiders star running back? Yo, what is up, Raidernation? It's your boy Simone Raider, back at it again with yet another video. If this is the very first time you guys are coming across the channel and you love Raiders content, then don't forget to hit that subscribe button and hit that notification icon button to notify you guys when I upload more videos just like this. Now getting back into it, let's talk about our star running back Ashton Jeanty and why he's been struggling so far. First off, of course, if it isn't obvious already, it's the offensive line. Raiders' offensive line just hasn't been consistent. The run blocking has been shaky, leaving Jenty with very little room to work. He's often getting hit at or behind the line of scrimmage before he can even get going. The biggest reason might not even be Jenty himself. The offensive line has struggled to create consistent running lanes. Defensive fronts are getting penetration early, forcing Jenty to make moves in the backfield instead of downhill runs. And a crazy stat that I seen circulating social media was the fact that Ashton Jeanty has been hit at or behind the line of scrimmage on 57% of his rush attempts. On top of that, Jenty has a total of 144 total rushing yards this season, with 145 rushing yards after contact. Think about that. That's crazy. It just goes to show that Ashton Jeanty isn't getting any help out there. Now, I know that we all expected Ashton Jeanty to come out and just fly all over the field, but it's pretty hard when the offensive line ain't doing anything for you. And in this past game, I've talked about it before, the offensive line isn't doing their job. The moment Ashton Jeanty touches the ball, there's already somebody in his face. And it's kind of hard to get going if that's what you constantly have to deal with every single game, every single down. Even in this last game, there was a play that I seen where we were in the red zone, Ashton Jeanty was handed the ball off, and just one little cut, he would have been walking into the end zone. But you see Dylan Parham not hold up his block. And that was crucial because the defender that Dylan was supposed to block ended up tackling Jenty, and we weren't able to get a touchdown, at least with Ashton Jeanty. But we could have easily seen him get a touchdown in this game. But those are the little things that turn into big things throughout the whole game. So, of course, I think any Raider fan that has two set of eyes can see that the offensive line is the main reason why Ashton Jeanty isn't going out there and isn't succeeding right away. Reason number two is Ashton Jeanty's vision. One of the biggest criticisms so far is that Ashton Jeanty sometimes runs straight into contact instead of seeing the backside or cutback lane. In college, his speed and power could cover that up. But in the NFL, you need patience and vision to maximize every run. Jenty has a great burst, but at times he's hitting the hole too fast. Instead of letting the blocks develop, he's already committed, and that leads into tackles for short gains. So defenders are too fast for a one-track style. Now, from the eye test, this is something that I've seen as just a viewer, whether I'm at the game or even watching it on TV. There's multiple times, even though the offensive line is the main reason, his vision doesn't help as well. There's a lot of times, like I said, when I'm watching the game, this dude's running straight into the offensive lineman or running straight into the defender. Like, he needs to have a little bit of patience. Now, I know that it's kind of hard to have some patience if the O-line is not doing their job, but there have been many carries where he could make a move but just doesn't, or just doesn't find the right hole. There was another play that I seen where he just overthought it and just ran straight into Bobby Wagner's arm instead of taking the other side. And then there's other games, if he was able to take a different route or a different lane, it could have been a lot more yardage. I feel like Ashton Jeanty is just trying to, try to get in there and just trying to make something happen instead of waiting his turn and finding the open hole. Reason number three is the running back rotation. Unlike in college, Jenty isn't a feature back here in Las Vegas. He's splitting carries with guys like Zamir White and Dylan Laube, and that rotation makes it harder for him to get in a rhythm or build confidence. Now, this has been something that we've talked about a lot in that Chargers game because he had a couple of solid runs, even though not all of them were really good, but there was many times that we seen Zamir White come in, even Dylan Laube come in and take some snaps out of him, especially on third downs. And of course, us Raider fans were all questioning it like, yo, Chip, what are you doing? And even throughout that whole week, there was a lot of criticism on the Raiders coaching staff and even the offensive coordinator on why Ashton Jeanty isn't getting those carries. And Ashton Jeanty even came out and said that you don't draft a guy like him if you're not going to give him the touches or the carries that he deserves.
I don't think you draft a guy like me to not give me, carries and touches, and I'm ready for the responsibility. And like I said, it's going to start with me and, in the run game, and I got to continue to get better.
Later on that week, Chip Kelly doubled down on it and rebutted and said that you do not want to run your running back down to the ground. You don't want to give him too much of a workload because he's still going to be the franchise guy, and we got 17 games to spread it all over.
There's a role for all of those guys, and I think you have to look that it's not just a one-game season, it's a 17-game season. So, your ability to keep everybody fresh, you're thinking short-term because you're playing games, but you're also thinking, long-term. You have 3 running backs up on game day, and so you got to be able to kind of distribute that. But you're trying to spread out the amount of snaps in a game. If you have 3 running backs up and one guy's playing 55 and another guy's playing 3 and another guy's playing 2, over the course of the season, that guy's going to get worn down, and by the time you get where's our back? Well, we ran him out by game 8. So, I think you have to look long term.
And I see that point, and at the end of the day, I do understand where Chip Kelly's coming from because there is a lot riding on Ashton Jeanty's shoulders and his future with this team. So yeah, this last game against the Commanders, he had a little bit more carries and did a lot better. 17 for 63, I believe so, which is the best that he's done so far this season. And I feel like he's only going to get better from here. He's still learning, so I totally understand not just throwing him into the fire and just giving this dude like 20 plus carries every single game. But I know that rotation is something new, and that's something that Ashton Jeanty has got to learn, especially to make the most out of the reps that he does get. Reasoning number 4 is the defensive adjustments. Defenses are testing him. Teams know that Jenty is explosive, so they're stacking the box on his snaps, daring the Raiders to beat them through the air. Until the passing game consistently opens things up, Jenty is going to see a lot of traffic in the backfield. And this is something that my host Joe Morley talked about when we talked about these games, is the fact that a lot of teams do not respect the passing game, and why should they, right? Why should they? I mean, we only got Brock Bowers out there. Jacoby Myers is a solid receiver, but outside of those 2 guys, we got a lot of young guys here. And Trey Tucker, yeah, he balled out this last game, but most of that came in garbage time. And he's still capable of going out there and making plays, but we don't have somebody that everybody's really afraid of. Like I said, Brock Bowers is that only guy, but he's been banged up and hasn't been 100%. And we just haven't had enough time to utilize him as much as we can in these last couple of games. So that said, defenses are going to be prone to stacking up the box and forcing the Raiders and Geno Smith to beat him. And this goes right back to the offensive line. If they're not going to do their job, if they're not going to give Geno Smith some time, because we've seen it in the first game, Geno Smith has all the skill sets to go out there and be a viable quarterback and throw in the air. I mean, 300 plus yards in that first game. That's something that we could see if the O-line can do their job. And once they do respect that passing game, then things will open up in the run game. This does suck for a guy like Ashton Jeanty. Like I stated before, most of the carries that he's been getting, he's been hit at or even knocked down once he gets the ball or in the backfield. And reasoning number 5 is the rookie learning curve. See, we can't forget that Jenty is still a rookie. Pass protection assignments, playbook responsibilities, NFL speed, it's all an adjustment. Coaches won't fully unleash them until they can trust him with every situation, especially on third down. Now, this goes right back to the rotation that I was talking about, is they're not going to put too much on him until he's ready to take that workload. It took a lot of other rookie running backs some time until they got going. Now, there are some special running backs that could come out the gate swinging, but with the situation that we have over here in Las Vegas, there's a lot that goes into it. And on top of that, this is a big adjustment for a guy like Ashton Jeanty. And he even stated it himself that it's rare for a rookie to come in and start balling out right away. Now, I know that our expectations was really high, especially seeing what he did at Boise State, but this ain't Boise State anymore. This is the NFL. Everybody's faster, quicker, smarter, and stronger. Now, we have seen glimpses of how great Ashton Jeanty can be. There are some good things that we see out of him here and there. Now, he hasn't had that game where he just balled out and just ran for over 100 yards with multiple touchdowns, and I know that he's been getting a lot of criticism, not only from the Raidernation, but even other media analysts out there. Heck, Ryan Clark even disrespected him, saying that he doesn't see the it factor out of Ashton Jeanty just off of 2 games. But trust me, Ashton Jeanty will be all right. I know the offensive line is going to be a big factor for sure, but once he gets going, once he gets used to the speed, once he gets used to all of this, he's going to be good. And like I said earlier, we have seen glimpses of how good Ashton Jeanty can be. Now, somebody brought up a fact that the same thing happened to Trent Richardson in his rookie season. Like, he started off pretty slow, but then throughout the season, he got going, and he was good in that rookie season. Now, I'm not going to say that Ashton Jeanty is going to be like Trent Richardson, but the same can happen. We still got a long way to go in this season, and honestly, if the offensive line can do a little better, then the running back should get going, and that should open up things for the passing game as well. So at the end of the day, with all the struggles that we've seen from Ashton Jeanty, am I worried about him moving forward? Do I think that he will not pan out? No, I feel like he should be okay. I just feel like this is just a bump in the road for him. He's getting things going, but you see a little bit of that greatness there. We just got to see him unleash it in one of these next games. Now, he's going to be playing the Bears coming up soon, so that's a team that's giving up a lot of rush yards, so hopefully that opens up a lot of things for Ashton Jeanty. I feel like the Raiders will be okay. We're just going to go through the growing pains right now, but I hope that we can open more things up for the running game, especially for a guy like Ashton Jeanty. Now, Raider Nation, what do you guys think about Ashton Jeanty? Even after the struggles that he's endured the first 3 weeks of the season, do you feel like he's going to bounce back, and when do you think that he could bounce back? Did the Raiders make the wrong decision selecting him at number 6? Who knows? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Until the next video, this your boy, some more Raider, and your boys, yeah.